Hi, my name is Michelle Sipker. I am a psychic channel, a coach, a healer, an artist, and I specialize in integration, in empowering, and in helping to align all you beautiful souls with your true self. Please make use of my free tools. I have videos coming out regularly. I do a lot of lives, every Monday night, 8 p.m. South African Standard Time. I do a live channel, and I also do on Wednesday mornings a live channeled meditation transmission, and on Thursdays or Fridays I release a coaching video like this one. If you're interested in my services or in contributing to the free work that I do, or you would like to learn more about me, please find the links below for that. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so what is Clairempathy? Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you are fine emotionally 1 minute and the next minute it's just like you've been hit by a ton of bricks and you just feel awful? Whether you have unexplained anger or sorrow, or just an incredible feeling of overwhelm. Well, that is Clairempathy, the gift of Clairempathy, which is the ability to feel others' emotions. It is also known in many circles as being an empath. So if you are an empath, you have the gift of Clairempathy. So today I would like to discuss from my own personal experience and also what I deal with on a regular basis with clients, some of the obstacles and pitfalls that faces empaths, as well as the benefits and the upside to being an empath, and then what tools you can use to get the best out of your ability and to use it for what it is meant to be used for. The biggest issue that empaths deal with is when they're not aware of their gifts. And that's why I decided to make this video, because I want to be able to help you, if you are an empath, to be able to use your gifts, live a happy, fulfilled life, and not have to suffer and ease others' suffering. The hardest thing about being an empath is not always knowing when emotions are your emotions and when it actually belongs to someone else. And one's belief system can have a great influence on that. So if somebody is going through an intensely emotional experience and they're going through intense pain, and you pick up on that, you feel that pain with them, you go through that excruciating pain, and if you're unaware of your gift and you're picking up everybody around you, you're picking up all the negative energy around you, and there's a lot of it out there, then it's going to create problems for you. So if you have a child with Clairempathy, it is important for you to be aware of it so that you can give them the love and support that they need, and so that you can teach them the tools that they need to be able to cope with it on their level. If you are an empath and you have Clairempathy, then chances are you can be a little bit sensitive. In fact, many would call you oversensitive. This is definitely one of the downsides of being an empath, but it is also needed, because without that extreme sensitivity, you wouldn't be able to pick up the emotions that you need to pick up to be able to use for what you need to use it for. So it's there for a reason. It's all just for you to learn how to work with this ability without suffering, and to ease the suffering in others. So here is something that's a source of pain for many empaths, and that is crowds, busy places, lots of people. It can be incredibly daunting, overwhelming, And even if you were really, really looking forward to something like an event or a concert or just hanging out with your friends at the mall, it can be really, really debilitating when you were expecting to have a good time and your Clairempathy gets you down and you start picking up all kinds of emotions. And if you don't know how to deal with it, and if you're not aware of your gift and what you're doing, it can end up making you feel really miserable. When you have a gift of Clairempathy, sometimes you end up suppressing a lot of emotions and you push it all down just to be able to cope in normal society and so that you can live a normal life. Obviously, this is not ideal. This is not a solution. And this often manifests in mental illnesses as well as physical illnesses or dis-ease in your body. Your body is trying to tell you something is wrong and that you need to work on whatever is going on. And of course, what happens with a lot of empaths is that we tend to absorb all the negative energy around us because we are here to transmute that energy. But if you're not aware and you don't know how to transmute that energy, it's all going to land up inside of you. Something which empaths often have to deal with is overwhelm, which could be just plain and simple, too much information. In this case, the information is emotional information, and this can often lead to meltdown or shutdown. Now, if you're neurodiverse or you're familiar with neurodiversity, then this will be familiar to you. And that is because many empaths or many people with the gift of Clairempathy are on the autism spectrum or have some kind of neurodiverse condition. That being said, that doesn't mean that it is exclusive to empaths and that all empaths are neurodiverse, but it is a fairly common trait. Meltdown happens when someone who is in overwhelm has an extreme reaction or a very negative reaction to all the emotions. And in the case of neurodiverse people, it can also be sensory, too much sensory information. And of course, Clairempathy is a type of sensory information. It is just more of an extrasensory information or emotional sensory information. But there's too much information coming in, and then they go into a meltdown state, which could be severe anger. It can be uncontrollable crying. It can be violent tendencies even. That's not to say it's the norm, but it does happen. And that's just because when a person gets to that state, it's because they don't know the tools and they don't know how to deal with it and they don't know how to work through all of these emotions and all of this overwhelm. So that is quite a negative aspect. Shutdown happens when the information is too much. And it can also happen after a meltdown, or it can happen instead of a meltdown. But basically, that person goes into a shutdown state, which means they don't feel anything. They just become sort of numb. And what often happens is somebody tries to talk to them or tries to ask them if they're okay, and they can't respond. They actually can't respond. They're aware of everything that's happening, but they have no control. Their body just went into shutdown, their brain went into shutdown. They just can't. It's not the same as a seizure because the person is aware. The brain is not shorting out. They just don't have, their brain is just protecting them from this overwhelm. It is important to note that when a person is in meltdown or shutdown, you will not be able to reason with that person. They just simply don't have the capacity. They are not able to reason, so they're not being difficult or stubborn or anything like that. They are just simply in a state in which they cannot control what is happening. So when you are faced with a person in meltdown or shutdown, there's not much you can do for them. There are some tools that you can use to help them, but each individual is going to be different and their needs are going to be different. When you're in a meltdown, you can feel it happening, but you have no control. It's like watching it in slow motion. It's like, and what happens afterwards is you feel super bad and you beat yourself up and you think you're a horrible person and you hate yourself. So you can see how this can lead to mental conditions and how it can just become worse and worse and worse if you don't know how to deal with it. So it's important that if this is something that sounds familiar to you and it's something you've been struggling with a lot, you can go and get some help. There is help, there are tools available, but you can also help yourself by learning the tools, learning your triggers and knowing what to do before you go into that meltdown or shutdown state. And that's kind of the purpose of this video as well today. It's really to help you give you the tools to get the best out of your gift so that it is not a curse. Loneliness is something a lot of empaths have to deal with because social situations have become so hard for them when they haven't learned how to deal with social situations. And even though they might actually want to be social and they actually enjoy the company of others, some of them opt to actually stop having a lot of interaction with people because it can just be too painful and overwhelming. So many empaths actually choose to have less social interaction and exclude themselves from anything too social. And in fact, many times it is easier to deal with one person at a time because it can just lead to too many negative feelings and overwhelm and all of those things that we've discussed before. That is not to say that this has to be the case. It is not to say that there isn't another way, but many do prefer to rather have smaller groups of friends or one-on-one social interactions or no interaction at all, which is obviously not the healthiest outcome, and there are ways around that. Okay, so let's talk about the positive side of Clairempathy and the benefits of it. So the negatives can seem quite daunting, and the purpose of this video is not to make you feel like there's no hope for you. There is absolutely hope, and there is a reason why. So Clairempathy does have a purpose, a really beautiful one. So if you have the gift of Clairempathy and you have learned to use that gift, then there is a whole range of skills and benefits that you can utilize. First and foremost, Clairempathy, or being an empath, is a gift of the healer. Whether you're a healer with mental illnesses, and usually it's because you've had to learn to deal with your own. So it could be a counselor, psychologist, especially those who are more intuitively inclined, intuitive psychologists, then you most likely have the gift of Clairempathy. Also, a lot of healers, energy workers, those kinds of people usually are empaths and have learned how to use that ability in helping to heal and ease the suffering of others. So besides healing and easing other suffering and making people better, whether it's physical, emotional, or energetic, it also has some other benefits. When you have practiced your skills and honed your skills as an empath, you will not only be able to discern which emotions are yours, but you will also be able to start discerning who the emotions belong to. First, you will learn to judge the general feeling in a room, but you can start, the more you practice, to pinpoint which individuals it comes from. For some empaths, this is natural and they have a natural sense of discernment. For others, it takes a bit more work and practice to get there. So besides reading a room, Clairempathy is also a very useful tool in teaching you when people are being honest, when they're lying, when they have an agenda, and it can really be a useful tool. Another benefit of Clairempathy is emotional intuition. So this will help with personal relationships, not only for healing. It can really help you to form deep connections with people, whether it is a child, a parent, a loved one, a friend. But it really can help you to learn emotional intelligence and a deeper emotional connection with people. Emotional intelligence has become more valuable to today's life and world than other kinds of intelligence. Not to say that the other kinds of intelligence don't have their place, of course they do. We have brains and abilities for a reason, whatever those abilities are. But being aware of your empathic abilities can really, really help you to develop that emotional intelligence and use it to great benefit in your own life. So you can see how Clairempathy can be a useful gift, not only in the healing industry, whichever part of the healing industry that may be, but also in many, many other fields like business, politics, teaching. There are many, many applications if you learn how to read a room, how to pick up people's emotions, knowing whose emotions they are, and who is being honest and who's not being honest. You will be able to diffuse situations before it gets out of hand. If that is your path, then that's definitely a possibility for you. It's not for everybody. But there are many, many different uses and applications to learning to use your gift of Clairempathy and developing the skills that goes along with it. It all depends on what resonates with you and what your life path is and what resonates with your soul. Okay, so let's start talking about the tools that you can use and learn to use to help you deal with the difficult situations of being an empath and to use your gift for the best possible outcomes, no matter how you want to use it. It is important to note that Clairempathy should not be used for emotional manipulation. Even though it is possible to use the gift in this way, this creates very negative energy and will sit in your karmic layer and cause a lot of blockages, maybe not immediately, but eventually, or maybe even in future lifetimes. But more often than not, it's going to create blockages and problems for you in this life, and you'll wonder why what you're trying to manifest is not happening as you want it to. And sometimes it's the areas that you least expect it to manifest in. So the energy you put out there is the energy you're going to get back. If you're going to use it to manipulate people, people are going to manipulate you. If you're going to use it to further your own selfish agendas, then people in turn are going to do that to you. So it all depends on what you want to experience. For me, that is not the best use of Clairempathy. Clairempathy should first and foremost be used as a healing tool. Okay, so the first most important thing that you need to learn if you are struggling with the negative aspects of Clairempathy is awareness. It is very important to become self-aware first. Becoming aware of physical sensations and negative thought processes can often be a clue that emotionally there is something going on. So awareness is the first key, and if you are not in a good place emotionally, it is important to work on your own emotional stability, your own emotional issues, get the help that you need, do the shadow work, do all the things that's going to help you get into a better mental and emotional state. So before you can help others, you first have to learn to help yourself. Now, this is not to say that you have to be perfectly healthy before you can start helping other people, but you have to get to a place where you're stable and can learn to deal with things as they come up. Okay, nobody's perfect, but it is important that you work on yourself constantly, continuously, and learn to love yourself. Because if you can learn to love yourself and give yourself compassion, then you will be able to use this gift to its greatest advantage as you will start sharing that love and compassion with others, and you will have a greater capacity for unconditional love and healing than ever before. Discernment. So discernment is key. It's such an important tool, and it really goes hand in hand with awareness. Discernment is when you can tell when the emotions that you are feeling are yours or whether it belongs to someone else. And this is such an important and key tool, because so often when you become aware of the emotions that you're feeling, and when you become aware that it's not yours, what do you do with it? There's choices. You can shut it out. Remember, you have the authority, and that's part of energy management. You have the authority to decide what you want to allow in, when you're willing to work with it, and when you don't want it. Okay? So discerning what someone else is feeling, that's the first step. But there's another aspect of discernment which is important to note and to talk about. And that is discerning why you're getting the information. Just because you can feel that someone's going through a tough time and are in pain does not necessarily mean that you have to inform them, work with them, etc. Sometimes you're getting that information for a different reason. So connecting with your higher self and really becoming friends with your higher self and learning to work with your higher self will really be a greatly beneficial thing for you in your life, no matter if you're an empath or not. I would advise everybody to get to know their higher selves, their true selves. But working with your higher self when you are helping people is incredibly important. Sometimes you're getting the emotional information just simply so that you can give someone a hug. So sometimes it's because you can help them, you can heal them. Sometimes it's because there's just one little bit of something that you need to say to them, delivered in a loving way. Always speak through the heart. Very, very important. Always open up your heart when you are working with your Clairempathy. So discernment is just so important for knowing why you're getting the information, and that's an important key. It's information. It's emotional information, but it's still information. It tells you something about that person or about a group of people, whatever the case may be. So you have to ask your higher self, or the other person's higher self, or the guides that are involved, why am I getting this information? What must I do with this information? Don't just assume that you know what to do with it. Sometimes it will be intuitive and you'll just know, this is what I need to do. And in fact, the more you practice discernment and the more you become aware of why you're getting the information, that will be a quicker process. It's all skills that you can learn, and obviously the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. So ask why. Very important. Alright, so another very, very important thing to learn to do when you are an empath is to learn to manage your own energy. And this will go hand in hand with becoming aware. It is important to ground your energy. Grounding your energy will help you to feel safe. You will feel connected to the earth. And really what it's about is coming into your body, fully living your life on earth, accepting that you're here and that you have to play by the earth's rules to a certain extent. You are here. You've chosen to be here, and you've got to work with what you've got. So acceptance of being here and coming fully into your body and living your life. Living your life as an earthling and experiencing all that this life has to give you, positive and negative. But the more you accept it and the more grateful you are for your experiences, the more positive experiences you're going to have, and the safer you're going to feel, and the more at ease you're going to feel with what you have to deal with. Clearing is incredibly important. So that's the next step. Grounding, then clearing. Clearing is incredibly important, and the reason for that is because most people with a gift of clear empathy tend to absorb or attract a lot of negative energy, because, as I said, we're healers, so we're naturally drawn to people who need help, who are desperate, who have got very difficult emotional lives or hectic energies going on about them, and that's purely because we actually want to help them. And when you're not really aware of your gift and you're not aware of clearing, and you don't clear your energy, you won't always be able to give them the best help, because you won't be able to discern when you should help them, how you should help them, and when you should step away and let them figure things out on their own, because it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes you need to lift people up, give them tools, give them information, give them love, give them energy, and sometimes you have to go, okay, I've given you the tools, now you've got to learn to use them. And you can't keep spoon-feeding people, you can't become an enabler instead of a helper, because that also has negative effects. And of course, if you do not clear all of these things out of your field, whether through energy work or visualization, or there are so many different methods, then it's going to lead to dis-ease and other problems, as discussed before, like mental illness. The next step in energy management is protecting your energy. Crucial point for an empath. Okay, you want to be able to protect your field, and it's not about being scared of what's out there. Okay, it's about making sure that the energy in your field is your energy and not other people's energy. You want to be able to be in such control of your energy in your field that only when you intentionally want to heal someone and help them can you let it in, and then you have to learn to transmute it. One way to transmute the energy is to clear the energy. So you intentionally helping someone, you're aware that that negative energy may come to you. This is not the case for everybody. Not everybody are transmuters. For some of you, you're simply going to protect yourself, and when you help the person, it's not going to affect you at all. But for some of us, we draw it into ourselves and then push it right down into the earth. Okay, it's something that you learn to do. So transmutation is another very important tool, and I'll talk about that a little bit more just now. And the last thing that is important about energy management is learning to give your chakras what they need. Chakras are like engines within your energy body. Some of you may be familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, please go and read my blog post about chakras. I will also put the links down below for the blog post that I've written about grounding, clearing, protection. So find all the links there below to give you more information about how to ground, clear, protect, and work with your chakras. Okay, it's important to keep your chakras aligned, balanced, and cleared. and so that they function properly, so that you function properly on all different levels: emotional, physical, mental, and energetic. Transmutation. Okay, so as I have mentioned before, transmutation is another tool. So like I said, this is not for everybody, but it is a useful tool to learn to use. It will be natural for some and maybe not as natural for others. Feel what resonates with you. If it feels like something that you need to be able to learn to use, then I want to encourage you to start practicing. And what transmutation really means is to take negative energy and transmute it into positive energy. Now, there's one entity that's really, really good at this, and that's Mother Earth, Gaia. Gaia is an excellent transmuter. She knows exactly how to transmute energy. If you push negative energy into the earth, she neutralizes that energy so that it can be used again for positive uses. And when you transmute, you often work with Mother Earth in order to transmute the negative energy, which means whether you do it visually or you feel it or sense it, you are aware of the negative energy coming in, you're allowing it to go through, but it doesn't stay in your body. You don't take it on, because that's dangerous. You clear all of it. Like I said, transmutation is not for everybody. I am a transmuter, so it's something that almost comes natural to me. However, I do need to be aware of energy in order to transmute the energy. If you're not aware, it's dangerous. So again, can't stress enough how important awareness is for an empath. So the main reason why empaths have the gift of clairempathy is to heal. And the way you heal people is through all the other steps that I've mentioned. Learning to clear the energy, learning to... Sometimes it's just being a listener. Sometimes that in and of itself is what someone needs. Sometimes you just need to listen. It's amazing how much healing can take place in someone, especially when you work through a heart space, especially when you open up your heart and become vulnerable yourself. That is not to say that you don't protect yourself. That is not to say that you tell everybody your story. Of course, telling your story can definitely help people. But sometimes it's just purely to listen. Listening, understanding, acknowledging the subjective experience that someone is going through. And also with physical healing, it can be greatly beneficial. Sometimes physical ailments or disease, as you know, are connected to emotional issues. So becoming aware, practicing your discernment and practicing energy management and all the other things we have mentioned before will all help you to become an incredible healer. And it really adds the next level to your healing abilities. So if you are an energy worker and you do get overwhelmed by emotions, learning to use that tool in a positive way can really elevate your skills as a healer. And of course, some empaths do not even realize that they're healing and transmuting energy. Some just do it completely naturally. And, if that is you, then this video might not have been of that much benefit to you, except in maybe understanding the information, understanding what it's all about, and understanding yourself better, which is always a good thing. So healing, great. Fantastic, very important. The world needs love. Love is the ultimate healing energy. And if you can combine love, open heart, your vulnerability, and all the other tools I've mentioned, you will become a fantastic healer because you're healing from the heart. In conclusion, is clairempathy a gift or a curse? I'll leave that up to you to decide. I used to think of it as a curse, of course. I used to feel like I didn't belong. I used to feel like I used to berate myself for being overly sensitive, over emotional. Some people experienced me as a little bit dramatic, and that is all very understandable. And I used to focus very much on that side of it, not realizing that actually this was an amazing gift that I have, that I can really use to help people. And since becoming aware of it and learning so many different ways in which I can help people with this gift, and of course I don't use this gift only on its own, I use it with my other gifts that I have of clairvoyance, etc. And each of you who have got empathy will probably also have many other gifts that you can combine it with to become the best version of what you need to be to fulfill your purpose. So yes, it's of great benefit to yourself and your own healing. It's of great benefit to understanding and being understanding. It's of value to tolerance, and more than that, unconditional love, compassion. And this, in fact, is such an amazing gift for healing not only yourself, healing individuals, but also healing the human consciousness. And you can actually use this gift in a group situation, or if you're a channeler like me or something like that, you can use it to really heal those areas on earth or in this world or in the multiverse where you feel called to work. So is it of value to me? Yes, it is. Now that I understand it better and seeing it in so many of my clients and helping them understand it and helping them move forward, it makes you a lot happier when you understand and when you learn how to use this gift. So I hope this video has helped you today. I hope this video has helped you today and that you've learned something from it. If you have any questions or comments, have any extra tools to add, or anything else you'd like to add, you're welcome to put it in the comments below. And please remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you learned something from today and would like to see more videos like this. That being said, if there's anything else you would like me to teach on that you're interested in, specific gifts, anything really, anything that you're interested in that is of a spiritual nature or channeling nature, or about ETs, anything you're interested in, please also put that in the comments below. I'm definitely going to read through that, and I would love to teach you what you want to learn about. So that is the point of all this. Okay, I love you lots of love to everybody. Have a wonderful week.